Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ned Bellavance, Ned1313 on Twitter, and welcome to the Daily Check-In for October 7th, 2020. Hey, it's October 7th, and that means it's Wednesday, which also means that it's Tech Analysis Wednesday. What am I going to be talking about today? Well, I'm going to be talking about an event that I attended yesterday. That's Tuesday the 6th. It was a Tech Field Day Extra, all about some stuff that didn't quite make it into VMworld. Now, VMware was not the presenter, though they did present as part of another company's stuff, but it's vendors that had stuff they wanted to talk about at VMware, and it just, well, it didn't fit in. They either couldn't get a session, or they couldn't get the message out, or they wanted to amplify the message by having more time with some influential delegates, of which I may count myself one. I do what I can. So what I wanted to talk about today was one of the presenters was Pure Storage, and they were talking about two different things. Their new Pure Stack platform for VCF, and they were talking about some new functionality that they've gotten from their Portworx acquisition. So that's what I want to talk about today. Hopefully that's interesting to you. I don't have any housekeeping items. I just want to check in with you. How are you? How you doing? How's Wednesday treating you? Halfway through the week, we did it. It's been an interesting day for me. My middle daughter, she got an expander put in at the orthodontist, and she did not like it. Not like it one little bit. And having that weird thing in her mouth is just, she's not a fan. So there's been a lot of soft foods and chocolate milk today, and sitting on the couch and just kind of adjusting to the situation. So it's been interesting, but it's 2020. We will get through this together, right? Okay, so let's talk about Pure Storage. So Pure Storage, I've been acquainted with them for a while. I was really interested in their all-flash array many years ago when they first rolled into the VAR that I was working at the time, and it just blew the pants off of anything else that we had in our little demo lab. And I was like, wow, how do I get like 12 of these? That was how I first became acquainted with them. They're still, all-flash array. That's what they do. That's the thing that they're, focused on and how they built their business. And now they're trying to find other ways of branching out. One of the ways they've tried to do that before is through cloud type scenarios, whether that's offloading some of your storage to a cloud target or actually building sort of like a pure array in the cloud using some of the building blocks that exist in the public cloud. So they do have an offering around that that's pretty interesting. And I think I either did a video or wrote a blog post about that at some point. Maybe I'll try to link it in the description down below. What did they want to talk about at this round? Well, one of the things to know is that VCF, VMware Cloud Foundation 4.1 just came out, and it added a bunch of additional features that people have kind of been waiting for. Like 4.0 brought the Tanzu flavor to VCF. It brought the Kubernetes stuff. But some of the things that were missing was like support for vVols. That's something you might want. Native support for vVols, I should say. And there were a few other things that were just kind of missing that people really wanted to have, including this whole vSphere lifecycle manager thing and some other components. So now that that's all part of VCF 4.1, Pure is rolling that out with their hardware offering. Their hardware offering, it's not HCI. It's called Pure Stack, or Flash Stack. I'm sorry. It's called Flash Stack because it's an all-flash array. So it's a combination of their flash array storage and Cisco networking and UCS servers and VMware running over all of that. And it's all verified and validated by VMware. Very cool stuff. Now, the reason I want to stress that it's not HCI is because a lot of the solutions that have come out that are focused on VCF are HCI solutions. Why is that? Well, because vSAN was pretty heavily baked into the first iteration of VCF. What that meant was you had to use vSAN. And what do you use vSAN on? Well, you use it on hyperconverged infrastructure because you have the servers and storage as one composable unit, a one atomic unit, I should say. So that was the initial push, right? But with first-class support for some other storage mechanisms, including vVols and some of the other transport mechanisms as primary storage within VCF, now 4.1 brings in the capability of using an array. So basically, my understanding of FlashStack is that you have the storage component, which is independently expandable from the server component of things. So you can add more UCS servers. You can also add more storage blades. And those two are independent of each other, which is one of the major problems with HCI. It's not something you always run into, especially in like remote office deployments, but the fact that you can't scale your storage without also scaling your compute can get difficult. And the fact that you usually need all your nodes to be identical means that if you did want to scale up your compute to a new generation of CPU, you might run into issues incorporating that in your existing plan. When you separate the storage and the compute back out again, that's less of a concern. And that's kind of what Pure is pushing for here. The other thing they're pushing for here is all the advanced features that exist inside Pure Storage make it much easier to move nodes around inside of VCF. So VCF has their management domain, and then they have one or more workload domains. And the management domain still needs to use vSAN. And so there's going to be 4 UCS servers that are dedicated just to vSAN and being that management domain. But everything else can be kind of loosey-goosey, and you can move nodes from one workload domain to another. But usually when you do that, it requires a lot of reconfiguration and rebalancing of the vSAN. Well, there's no vSAN. It's just an array now, so you don't have to worry about that. You can shift things around as needed within your array, or if you want to add additional nodes, you can do that too. So in that regard, it really is kind of a step up, or well, it brings all of the extra functionality that you get out of a storage array that was kind of missing a little bit in the current VCF deployments. So that's pretty exciting. I thought that was that was interesting to me. Who's their target customer for this? So I do want to put that out there. If you're a small, medium business, it's not you. They are targeting enterprise customers, service providers, people who want to buy at least 10 compute units or more of this thing. They're thinking about buying racks at a time, not buying servers at a time. So if you're the sort of customer who buys racks of gear at a time, this could be for you. If you're the kind of person who buys servers at a time, maybe you stick with the HCI solutions and plain old vSphere. And that's kind of the VCF thing, right? VCF is aimed at large scale enterprises. So that's FlashStack. I thought that was pretty interesting and you can see how this will trickle down to smaller solutions over time. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was some of the capabilities that they have brought on board with their acquisition of Portworx. Portworx specializes in managing storage on Kubernetes. And as we all kind of know, the storage story on Kubernetes is still a little on the immature side, but it's definitely grown by leaps and bounds over the last couple of years. It used to be that you assumed that most of the stuff running in your Kubernetes cluster was going to be stateless. You didn't need that kind of storage on the back end. That has changed. And if you look at what's happening here, I want to call out a couple trends. One, so VMware added Kubernetes as part of their distribution. It's part of VCF in vSphere 7, and it's now going to be part of vSphere in 7 Update 1, which just came out. So you're going to have a whole lot of enterprises that now have direct access to Kubernetes when they do their upgrade. No other configuration required. You get it. Hey, it's included in the package now. So you're going to see enterprises starting to move applications to Kubernetes, whether or not they should. Now those applications that have moved still need all the traditional data services that you would have on an array or a regular VMware cluster. Stuff like DR, replication, backup, migration, security, all of those things that might not be baked into the Kubernetes solution. The good news is Portworx, in concert with Pure, offers all of those things. That's all stuff that Portworx specialized in. And now that you can kind of see how things are moving and progressing, you've got these enterprises with these enterprise needs. They're not going to refactor their application to take advantage of the latest Kubernetes stuff. They're just going to slam in a container, write a YAML file, and deploy it to a cluster, and then never shut it down. And they're expecting it to run, and they're expecting it to have all these data services available. Portworx is going to give that to them. The other thing that it gives is by creating these storage classes and these services, if I'm a developer developing a new app and I want access to some of these things, I don't have to write replication into my application. I don't have to write DR into my app. I can leverage the services available at the storage layer through Portworx to add all that stuff in for me. Sometimes it makes sense to make your application the thing that provides DR and high reliability and replication. Sometimes it doesn't. And having that option to consume these other services offered through Pure and Portworx could make your life as a developer a little bit easier. So, those are my thoughts on Pure Storage and their presentation yesterday at Tech Field Day. I will include a link to the presentation in the description so you can watch it for yourself if you're interested. Let me tell you, it's a packed session. There's a lot of info in there, and I just picked two things out of it to focus on. But that's all I have for today. Tomorrow is Thursday, and I'm going to talk about my home lab a little bit and some issues I'm having with the networking in my home lab and what I think I'm going to do. So that will be tomorrow. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Please share and subscribe, and stay safe out there. Thanks. Bye for now.